back to another episode of the GroupChat Podcast. I am joined, as always, my brother just recently applied to Streamer University. Will is in the building. How we feeling today?
I would never apply to no stupid shit like that.
Wrong bell. Wrong bell that applied for
For
streaming university.
for sure. I don't know which one did, but it wasn't this one.
The all pro running back that played for the
Oh,
Jets.
Le'Veon, the boxer.
Yes, professional boxer.
Him and AB put out like two podcast episodes and stopped. They talk about niggas that shouldn't have a microphone. Oh man,
Antonio Brown, Adrian Broner. This could go a lot of different directions.
that's that. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
Antonio Brown had like two podcast. He had like three podcast episodes. He did one solo, and then he's like, "Nah, you know what's really gonna turn this shit over the top is if I bring Le'Veon Bell in." Because he had one episode where he was talking to Tyreek Hill, another person that shouldn't have a microphone, and then brought Le'Veon Bell for two episodes, and then that shit was gone. So the world has a way of working itself out. You want to go to Sherman University, Will?
You said, would I?
Mm-hmm.
This will have to be like a "we want you" type of thing. I'm not putting in an application
Kai send the PJ over and say, hey, "Yo, come through for the weekend. You gonna hop on the jet?"
for the weekend. It sound crazy. Like I ain't one of his hoes or nothing like that. But I might be like me. I might say me and the homies will pull up. Like I don't know what part of the game you think this is, but
Oh shit. Oh man.
if I well, I don't know because they ain't let the real niggas in. They ain't let AB in, did they?
I I I I'll be real. I
About
don't know. I
billions.
feel like
No, they did not.
Adrian the Problem Brawner.
that's
He lived up to that name for sure.
that's your department. I'm not in the boxing world, so that's
He not either. Have you seen him? He looked like
Be
he
back,
boxed.
fellas. Be back.
Oh shit. No, yeah.
Them,
Tony
them
been
niggas
joining.
had them niggas had Dave Blunts on the. They had a little roasting session with Dave Blunts.
I don't want to get started on Dave Blunts again. I was so glad when he left like the internet algorithm. Like he just, hey man, get healthy. That's all I'll say. Get healthy, people. Excuse me.
I
Who we
think they
been?
paid him some money. My bad, Joe. I think they.
Oh, you
I
good?
seen the clip where they paid him some money to go up the stairs.
See, this is why I would never even ask somebody in this podcast question. I got too much respect and love for y'all. But like when people like when you just know like there's like a level of like when niggas pay you to shame yourself, like you hit like a new low. And if niggas is paying you to walk up some stairs, cause like the internet knows you as like the big fat nigga with the baggy clothes, like something's wrong. Something is terribly wrong. Something has gone terribly off basis. Like just you can't pay niggas to shame themselves. Um, who we been listening to this week, man? Who y'all got as rap of the week?
Let me see.
I dare somebody to say fabulous.
In 2026. I
Niggas
say
been on
that
free.
keeping the gangster did come on my shuffle yesterday. That's very funny. Now that I think about it. But no. I haven't listened to Fabolous, which is not how you spell that word.
Who the fuck is
My rapper of the week is. It could be two people, but one was recently my rapper of the week. So my rapper of the week is Larry June, man. People know how much I love Larry. We'll be at whatever show he has this year when he goes back on the road. So yeah, that is my rapper of the week.
My rapper of the week is Meek Mill.
okay? Shout out.
Robert
I got you listening to
Williams.
me.
I had I was like scrolling one day and it was like literally just I had a slew of like Meek freestyles like popping up. I said, "Oh, this nigga going crazy."
Now
Generational
Meek is.
freestyler. One of
I
our
just say
one of
Meek
our
is.
best.
Now Meek is
And
great.
this ain't old shit. This ain't like this ain't no old shit either. This like recent shit where he just was like spitting.
Shout out to Meek. Meek's freestyle is. I don't want to start that conversation. Um, speaking of 2026, my rap of the week is Ludacris. for no other reason than see why niggas gotta roll their head back. Y'all don't have like an album.
Shout out to Luda. We love Luda. We love Luda, but like
we actually do. Like I think
That's
we
so
all
Y'all don't
random.
have like a deep cut album, like an album that you know like niggas don't fuck with the way you do, but like it's like a go to for you. Like Theater of the Mind, Ludacris is that to me. Like I
all the
just
Luda
got
albums for you to go to.
Theater of the
Crazy.
Mind, Blueprint 3. You just
Out of
just
all
y'all
the
don't
Luda
got-
albums, out of all the shit Luda
I'm not
dropped,
saying it's his best. I'm just saying
you
that
said that's your go to.
that did win
that
the
is my
Grammy. Funny
personal-
enough.
that is my personal go to.
That was when
I'm
he
not-
that was when he cut the braids. That was like when he first cut the braids. He was rebranded.
Like that he was rapping his ass off on that album. Like
Balloons. I'm so glad they don't rap like that no more, man.
And when you think about it, Big Sean dissing Ludacris is crazy.
Big Sean dissed Ludacris?
okay, I'm glad you said that.
I don't know if it, so maybe he didn't actually, but I think they were having like some beef over like the flow type shit. Like said like it was a point where they were saying like Big Sean was still like it was something like that like back in the day.
Big Sean should be
like-
honored.
I was gonna
Let me
say,
see.
can you like, if a nigga came in before you was rapping away before you did, like, do you even really have like an argument in that?
That ain't never meant nothing.
I mean, niggas ain't logical, but you know, it is what it is. I'm gonna flip flop this real quick while Will's googling Big Sean and Ludacris beef. Way too early NBA talk real quick. Obviously, when last time we spoke, it was Game 4 had just happened, and so Game 5, the Knicks they won on Saturday night, took its first NBA title in 53 years, and then y'all niggas decided to go tear New York up. That's a whole different conversation for sports fans that are just beyond insane levels of people. So congratulations to the Knicks, and I just wanted to have like a quick, way too early. Tony kind of discussed when we were recording shorts. If you had to right now pick your way too early favorites for next year, like, do y'all feel like it's still the same teams we saw at the end of this last year? Do you feel like somebody else should be in consideration for that? Like, who would be like y'all early, I don't even say title favorites, early contenders?
OKC for me. Looking at that finals, and you know, me and Justin both think Wemby is going to be there sooner rather than later, but it also emphasized to me that they beat the Thunder because Jalen Williams was hurt. Like, they beat the Thunder because Jalen Williams was hurt, and if he wasn't, they wouldn't have beat the Thunder. And you could argue they beat the Thunder because AJ Mitchell was hurt. Like, even if they have AJ Mitchell, they're just another reliable scorer, ball handler, somebody to take the pressure off Shea, who was essentially playing 3-on-5 out that motherfucker. Like, if they have just a guy that can get a basket, can handle the ball, they win that series. But they didn't, and the Spurs won. But yeah, the final was emphasized to me. Yeah, the Thunder are fine. They're just fine.
Chet was also hurt in that Western Conference Finals. Nobody knows yet, but you know he was hurt too. It might have been emotional, but
He had a
was hurt.
uterus bruise.
Chet was fucked up during that series. Nah, I'm probably with you on the Thunder right now.
But the
They're
Spurs
probably-
the Spurs had to win with De'Aaron Fox on their team.
That's a fair handicap. Fair handicap.
Fair is fair.
And that one's tough because like De'Aaron Fox is going to be one of two things next year. He's either going to be the most expensive bench player in NBA history by a mile, or he is going to be the most expensive cap casualty in NBA history by a fucking mile. Because you cannot, like, and Dylan Harper, shout out to him. He just called that shit out at the end of the series. Like, once they had lost, he was like, yeah, I was pissed off the fact of, like, this was nigga y'all had playing in front of me. Like, it was one thing when the season started, because obviously Harper's a rookie, and so De'Aaron Fox being the vet playing cool. But by the end of that series, like, nobody with a straight face would look at you and be like, Fox should have been on the floor over Dylan Harper. Like, Harper was, you could have an argument, he was the Spurs' best player, like, per every game. Like, he was the most consistent and best Spur. Stephon Castle was not shooting well. Stephon Castle was still playing his ass off on defense. I know Brunson's stat line in Game 5 doesn't look like it, but Castle had a hell of a playoff run. Like, playing defense against Shea, playing defense against Ant, Jalen Brunson those first couple of games. Like Castle was great defensively, but man, De'Aaron Fox, that was fucking rough. Why, if y'all were on that team, how would you, for like semi-serious, but we here for jokes too. Somebody's got to talk to Mitch Johnson, right? Like someone has to, like, if by the third missed shot, we were texting in real time, and it was like, damn, why he take that shot? And then the next like 3-4 possessions in a row, De'Aaron Fox took another shot and another shot and another shot. Is like, don't nobody pull him aside and be like, dog, what the fuck are you doing?
What year is this for Mitch Johnson? Second?
It's like, kind of. It's not really even because like Pop's stroke was like early last season, and he took over the rest of the year. Yeah, so it's his first full season, like going into
it. Like I think at the end of the day, like the Spurs were really there before they were ready. Like, so it's kind of like, as much as it's easy for us to just blame who we're gonna blame, it's like they were all too young. The players were too young. The coach was too new. They just weren't, like, the moment was too big for them as a whole. So it's like, yeah, it's easy to point fingers and shit, but we've seen experience kind of be the difference maker in this shit time and time again.
Quick hypothetical. If Pop never had health issues, do you think Greg Popovich wins this finals?
I don't know if they're there.
Because at the end of the day, like,
Pop is still like 77, so it's like,
nah, he's old.
Pop is old, but listen, you can't make these niggas make shots. You can't stop Wemby from being tired at the end of games because he ain't used to playing 40+ minutes. Like, you're not gonna all of a sudden make De'Aaron Fox more competent than he was in this series. And I like De'Aaron Fox. Like, I don't think he bad at all. Like, now it's tough for me to say, like, wherever he go, he gonna be back to himself, because I think the shit that happened in this finals and like all the noise from social media, that shit can probably be like confidence bruising and ego bruising to where maybe you don't fully bounce back.
That's valid. He's definitely
to have to carry the load, because like realistically, like one bad season, in my opinion, or one bad playoff run, however you want to view it, like it shouldn't turn us into having a conversation about De'Aaron Fox being the most expensive bench player. Like, it's a lot of teams that De'Aaron Fox can go start for today.
No, his problem, I think, is only because Harper looks ready to play, and so it's like if Dylan, like, for example.
Oh no, I think the Spurs are getting rid of him.
Yeah, but if he was
like, I don't think
he'd play, because he would just have his ass play.
But I think the problem is, like, with the way that the NBA is played today, like, you don't have to pick which one of them to play. Like, it's a bunch of other niggas that was ass out there too that he could have played over. So like when you talk about this Champagne nigga, like Champagne, he was ass. When you talk about Keldon Johnson, like in the finals, so it's not like De'Aaron Fox.
Johnson got a break because Fox had such a bad game 4 and 5.
But I'm saying like it was other ways for them to find minutes for Harper, like for them to just act like Fox is the only reason he wasn't getting minutes. Like, that can solely be blamed on Mitch Johnson, because there was other niggas that was out there playing like ass, to where even if you wanted to leave Fox, it was other places to get minutes for Dylan Harper.
No, that's fair. So okay, then I guess I'll go back to the first question, if you will. Who would you have right now as, like, going into next year? Again, it doesn't have to be one team. It could be like a couple teams, if you feel like there's a couple teams you feel like are going to be true contenders. Well, I think both of y'all feel like if Giannis goes to the Celtics, would that compete with the Thunder?
I'm not there. I think they be the East favorites. I can't, because you'd have to see what they give up, and then the development of other guys that's already there. Like, do they lose Pritchard in that trade? They still have a center problem. Like, they don't have a reliable center that you can put out there on a playoff team that want to compete for a championship, and that showed in the Philly series. So they got questions, but I think the Thunder, for me personally, I just think if the Thunder are healthy, they're just in a tier by themselves. They are just not, as far as playoffs go, because obviously the Spurs had success in the regular season, but as a playoff championship team, for me, if the Thunder are healthy, if I got Jalen Williams healthy, If I got AJ Mitchell and Shea healthy, if I got these guys healthy, that's the clear championship favorite to me.
Especially if they trade Chet for Giannis. Nah, man, we ain't going down that road again.
Imagine.
Yeah, no, I would go with the Thunder, and then I would probably say the Celtics if we talking.
The
If
Celtics
we
are the
talking
favorites to win the
trade.
East right now.
Yeah, I think if they were to make that trade and get Giannis, I think I will for sure have them as the favorites. Those are the only two teams that I can really say like, because even with the Spurs, like I think they're gonna all make a jump. I think Wemby is gonna make some of the necessary jumps that he need to make, and all of the young players are gonna get better. But I also just it's hard to go back to back. Like it's hard to go to the finals back to back. So it's like I just don't like. I'm just not saying they're gonna do it just because they got there and lost.
No, I agree. One of my like long running takes is like we've never watched. If you've watched the NBA since the 80s, you've never watched the NBA with like a top 10 guy actively dominating, right? Like Magic and Bird, then Michael, then you had Kobe and Shaq, and then you've had Bron, and you've had Steph. And Steph might be right outside the top 10, like that level of player, right? And so it's really distorted how the success of those teams, like Magic got to what, 7 finals? 8? Bird got to 5. Obviously, like he won 3.
Yeah, he lost 3, so he went to 8. Yeah, Magic.
Yeah. Obviously, Mike got to 6. Bron's been to 10. 4 and 6. Yeah, so Bron's been to 10. Steph obviously has been to like Kobe's been to 7.
He went to 9 in a row. That's so stupid.
Like, that because that's always existed. It's like we've just distorted on what like success is supposed to look like running with one of those top 10 players ever. And the reality is like as great as Jokic has been, as great as Giannis has been, as great as SGA is, it's like there is a reason why like these niggas are still kind of like you could say early accolades like at their peak, like because the conversation around all of them was like, oh, if once they got one title, how many are they gonna rack up? Well, the answer is 1. Like these niggas all got 1 and they got booted the next year. And so I do think the Thunder should be the team to win it next year. I also wouldn't be horribly shocked if we go 9 straight years, and because you got to literally go back to the 70s where you have like the NBA's never gone this long without back-to-back champions. The closest is the 70s, and the 70s doesn't have, again, you don't have a top 10 player, although that's a little unfair because Dr. J, and like he didn't age as a top 10 player because guys passed him, but he would have absolutely been one in that time. And so it's interesting. Like I said, we did for short form beforehand is like the next guy to get a second ring is gonna have a different level of bragging rights because
I mean the 70s don't have a top 10 player for today. They had top 10 players for that time though. For the history of the league at that point, which was probably what 30 years old maybe.
Yeah. It would have been back then the top 10 list would have literally gone Russell, Wilt, probably Dr. J, Jerry West,
Kuzi,
like
Jerry West.
Yeah, Kuzi would have been up there.
Havlicek. It would have been
It would have been a lot of Celtics and Lakers and Wilt. Like is the reality of the top 10 list at that time. And Wilt was technically a Laker. I always forget that. But again, it's like that level of success when you have. Because I guess we'll get off here in a second, is like, take Wemby out of it, because a lot of his shit is still really hypothetical. As high as I personally am even on him, like, what's the highest you think a nigga actively playing right now has a chance to be? Like, in an all-time rank?
We always talk about that. I mean...
Like we said out of the young guys?
Anybody who's... Because Jokic isn't young anymore, and Giannis isn't technically young, but they're both on the other side of 30. But because LeBron is still in this bitch at 40-something, like, the not super old guys. So not KD, not Steph, not Bron, not Kawhi. The, like, Giannis, Jokic, and younger. Like, do y'all feel like I think Jokic is probably the highest ranked as of today. Like, he's somewhere between, like, that 12 to 15 range, in my opinion. Giannis is probably right behind him.
How much higher, I guess, and I know you said right behind. How much higher do y'all have Jokic than Giannis? Like when you talk about all time list.
It's close. It's like a
I,
player or two.
I have Jokic. I know this off top. I have him 12, I think. I have him
Do you got him?
12
Do you have him below or above Shaq? Out of curiosity.
below.
Below Shaq. Okay, that's what
I got Shaq.
Shaq is kind of.
I got Shaq in the back end of the top 10, and even that I've been like kind of going back and forth with lately because Shaq got swept a lot, but
Yeah.
They don't tell you about that.
but I have Giannis top 20 as well, so it's not that
Same.
much of a gap. I probably have Giannis like between 15 and 17.
And I am between Jokic, KD, and Giannis are all probably within. I don't have a list off the top of my head, but like when I've gone and done it, they're all within like the same 5 to 6 players. As far as to me, and it's like Jokic is like a spot or two ahead of Giannis, and then Giannis to me I got a spot or two ahead of KD. But I also don't really rank fairly like the super old guys, and so like if you ask for my top 10 list, it's like Russell and Wilt to me are just impossible because I have no way to even like contextualize what they won 11 titles. Like what am I supposed to tell Bill Russell? Like, how I tell Wilt, nah, nigga, averaging 50 and 25 ain't good enough.
Bill Russell was your height.
I have Bean Bird, and then it is always like Russell at 8, Shaq at 9, and then Steph. But then I always go back and forth between do I make Dream 9 or do I make Shaq 9? Because Steph is in the top 10. I feel like I can't never take Steph out of the top 10. So Steph is 10. It's just a matter of who's 11.
I think Shaq right now is my 11. Shaq is kind of like my gatekeeper for the top 10 because I put Steph over Shaq.
That's where I be going back and forth for it.
But it's like it's weird too because, and again, like accolades do have to matter. Like it's accolades versus your skill, and it's like this conversation that never has like a true answer. Hakeem busted Shaq's ass every time they played, but I'm like, Shaq's dominance and peak. That's literally what we're basing the majority of it off of. Like, yes, he was great early in Orlando. I'm sorry.
Every big man is compared to Shaq still.
I said that was young Shaq.
That's true.
Cause you ain't gonna let nobody say Brunson busted Wemby ass every time they played. Cause I mean he just won a world. He just beat him in the NBA Cup and the NBA Finals.
That's not positional. A little different. What would be the?
Nah, I'm just fucking around.
The problem is Hakeem busted like everybody's ass. Like Hakeem.
You talking
really
about an all-time great for sure.
Yeah, like Hakeem. It's weird that like he doesn't have as much team success, but he played in Mike's era, so it's like, but nigga, that's why. But it's you can't really look at a 1v1 matchup when you look in a dream and be like, oh yeah, this person got the better of him. Like he basically fucked up everybody he played against. But he doesn't have the overwhelming team success to me that you need to get in that top 10. Like, it means a lot when the niggas got, again, I got Magic at 3. And that's because Magic did as much winning as anybody, in my opinion, modern times that's not named Michael. Like, Magic I got his third greatest player. I just also, but again, he got more rings, but it's like, Bron is, you can't convince me a world where, like, Magic's better than LeBron James. So, that's my difference right there.
You could convince me of a world. I'm just not going to that world.
You like you said, you can tell me that world exists. I just
that's fair. And like I think Magic gets again because I know Magic gets underrated. It's just it's hard because again Magic has
he in most people's top 5. You can't be underrated like that. He
just don't score like anybody else. Which so it's like his points per game numbers are hilarious, but so are Duncan's the way it aged out, and so like.
That's because points per game, like that's like a modern NBA stat kind of. Like I mean, not saying that it didn't always matter, but like now it's the only thing that matter.
Shout out to before we talk about morality, shout out to Richard Sherman who was the end of Skip's career at FS1. They paid Richard Sherman to talk about basketball, and he said when the Lakers signed Christian Wood, he's like this basically like signing Pau Gasol. They both averaged 19 and 9. I was like, this. I'm like, y'all got it. Y'all got it. Like, if that's where we come to, Christian Wood is Pau Gasol, it's over. Shout out to Christian Wood. You got paid. You got like 2 contracts. So shout out
These
to
numbers,
you. You did.
these numbers be so inflated. Like
And that's
scoring 19 and 9 when these teams was averaging 120 compared to like 19 and 9 when like the teams was averaging 100.
that's what
Like
Brunson's
you
game
y'all do y'all
five.
remember do y'all remember it was a time where niggas used to be like, damn, they scored 110 points.
That was the highest scoring team in the
Like,
league.
And
The
overtime.
Warriors. Yeah,
the
the Warriors and Suns used to do that shit, and the constant commentary was like, "Man, these niggas don't play no defense." Like,
that's what I'm like. The Suns with Mike D'Antoni in 7 seconds or less, and they was the highest scoring team in the league, averaging like 102. So when the nigga got to like 110, 115, they was like, God damn, they putting up numbers. Now that's like what some of the worst teams in the league is breaking 100 today. Like most of the worst teams in the league is breaking 100.
I think everybody broke 100. I don't know if there's a team that averaged less than 100 this year.
Let's see.
Like that's look that up. While we're on the point of that, switching over to slightly more serious topic, and I'm curious. Morality in sports and in music. So this kind of always exists because the reality is you've got, and I know social media has made it to where like we know people more than we used to, but the reality is if you watch a baseball team, watch a basketball team, you watch a football team, you like certain artists, whatever genre that may be, you don't know these people initially, and the reality is you got 50 guys on a football team. All 50 of them ain't gonna be good people. I'll start here. When did morality start to matter for you guys when it came to either sports or music? When you started finding out, damn, dude might be a piece of shit or she might be a piece of shit. When did that actually start mattering to you personally?
Morality with entertainment, because sports and shit is all entertainment. For me, when it comes to music, I don't really have like it's too much music for me to like keep listening to a motherfucker I know is shitty, and that's on any scale. It's double time if like you a weird ass nigga, you hit women or you abuse women in any way, you touch kids, shit like that, like super no. For sports is tricky because like I still love sports, but I don't have the same love for sports as I did when I was younger. Sports for me now, I find more I ain't gonna say joy, but more interest in the the what's happening behind the scenes of sports. And like I get more interested in sports based on certain decisions that's made behind the scenes. Um for sports morality, it's not I was about to say it's tricky, but it's not really tricky. I mean, for shit like that don't really matter, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, this player plays for this team I like a lot. This player is not a good person. It's like I could choose to either not root for the team because of him, or I could just not fuck with him and he's still on the team. Most of the times you're gonna pick the latter option. You're gonna say, okay, this is still my team. I just don't fuck with him. Marlon Humphrey. Um. So
You're right. I'm back at 30
so
seconds. Keep talking. I can hear you.
got you. So it's one of those things where it's like that shit either matter to you or it don't. Because neither one of those things really matter in the grand scheme. So it's just like what do you how much do you give a fuck, honestly?
Yeah, no, I think that's kind of what it boils down to, and I think it's a lot harder, not even harder, but it's a lot trickier, maybe depending on what word you want to use when it comes to sports compared to when it comes to music, because like number one, the amount of music that's out there, but also like it's an individual person. Like when you talk about sports, if you talk about football, what's that, a 53-man roster? You talk about basketball, what, a 15-man, however many niggas they got on the basketball team. So because one person is a piece of shit, you just don't support the whole team. So yeah, I mean, I think it's all about how you view it as an individual, honestly.
No, it's 1,000%. I've probably said the story on here before, but it's like, uh, Travis Henry is ironically like one of the first people that like for whatever reason ESPN was telling me about his personal life. And Travis Henry wasn't a good guy. He ended up serving some prison time, and it was the first time that I really had to sit there and be like, damn. And I was middle school, because I think he stopped being a Bronco after '07. Yeah, that Bills game. Shout out to Josh Norman. Not Josh Norman. Fucking. Anyway, it was the first time I had to sit there and be like, okay, these are real people. They do stuff outside of what they present on TV, whether it's the basketball game, football game, etc. And for a long time, I was cool with that of just like, I don't know you. Like, I don't know you, and I don't care. That gets a little more complicated the older you get. And when you're like, okay, you are being like a terrible person, and especially like Tony said, like, I'm not giving, excuse me, I'm not putting morality in the context of like, you got a certain nigga on the Charlotte Hornets who likes to drive fast. I think you're stupid. I don't think you're necessarily a bad person for that reason. You might be a bad person. For other reasons, I don't know if that necessarily makes you a terrible person. You just might be a little dumb. Where I also, though, is like, do y'all believe in like revisioned morality, if I'm saying that correctly? And so I'll use somebody that like we grew up with, like Michael Vick was polarizing. Michael Vick, you would have essentially thought was like the worst human on earth the way he was covered at the height of what happened. And I'm not excusing what happened. He served his time. I'm not here to tell people how to feel about Michael Vick. But how do y'all feel about like a situation that happens and then you get more information and that starts to change? Like, how were y'all when the Michael Vick shit popped off? Like, did y'all think Michael Vick was a piece of shit? Did y'all think it's crazy but not the worst thing in the world? Like, how did that situation unfold for y'all as that was going down?
So real quick, I think it's crazy, but even I guess before the Mike Vick part, I kind of go back to the whole like driving fast thing. It depends on how you view it, because until somebody die because you driving fast, like you saying you dumb, but if you the nigga that hit somebody and kill somebody, now are you a bad person or are you?
I'm gonna change my opinion about you, which I will always reserve because the problem is, like Tony brought up when we were different scale. Well, when we brought up Drake, he was like, we know enough about Drake to know like he ain't a great person. Cool. I will give you some just benefit of the doubt of being a blank sheet until you show me. And I understand that's unfortunate because shit is then going to happen that is bad, and it's unfortunately just going to happen. But I'm also, like, I can't call you the bad person or the horrible piece of shit until something shows up to be a horrible piece of shit, if that makes sense. Like, I kind of give you time.
Right, but I guess to that point, and I won't stay on it, but it's like, it's all right if you're willing to put people's lives in danger, but until you take a life.
No, it's. Do you think everybody that, for example, and again, and I'm not excusing.
And like I said, not even to make it specifically about the driving, but I'm just kind of using that as an example to say like where does the line get drawn? Like, are you like, and not you specifically, but just in general, it's like, are we okay with people putting other people's lives in danger depending on the way that they do it until somebody, because like if you start shooting, if you start just shooting in the air out in public, niggas gonna be like, oh, you a bad person.
So I think that is different. Driving, part of the problem is because it's just like, it's societal. Like, everybody drives. You got to drive every day. You get in your car, and there's people that drive stupidly every single day, and obviously whatever percentage of that actually turns into an accident, like, we do kind of judge. Like, I don't call every person that's got a speeding ticket a horrible person, if that makes sense.
Well, when like, you say speeding, I'm not thinking like a nigga going like 40.
I'm talking about niggas going 80, 90. Like, if you going 90,
right.
You going 90
I'm not talking
freeway,
about the nigga that got pulled over because he was going fucking 52 and a 40.
Correct. Yeah, no, correct. There's levels to it as well.
Oh, no, I got you. But, and then I guess, so like even just moving past that, to like the Mike Vick thing, like when I heard about it, I kind of was just, I thought like, damn, that's crazy. I never thought like, oh man, he's the worst person in the world, because it's like, some people value like animals more than people, and like we'll leave that reserved for that group of people.
I got dogs in the room with me right now.
I mean, no, that's good, but like even still, like it's some people that like a lot of people got dogs, but it's a lot of people who value like human life more than animal's life, and vice versa.
No, absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
so I thought like, damn, that's crazy. But like I was a kid, number one, and like when you kind of grow up around some of the shit that like some of us kind of grew up around, like a nigga fighting dogs ain't the worst shit you gonna hear about. So it's like yeah, I thought, damn, that's crazy, but it wasn't like, oh my god, like this nigga shooting each other like in the in the neighborhood. So it's like,
No, it's valid. No,
yeah.
that's
So
what
I thought it was like, I thought like, damn, that's crazy, but it wasn't like, oh my god, I can't believe he did that.
No, I think that's why his case, when I was thinking about morality in sports, is like, I think he's one of the most interesting ones because, again, you're right. There is a difference between like human life and animal life. He obviously had he served his time. He had a chance to. I don't want to use rebrand because some of it was life changes, and so I don't want to make it. It feels like cheapening it, but um, your thoughts on Mike Vick when it went down, Tony?
When that happened, I was like 10 or 11, and it was weird just because it's like damn, he going to prison for like fighting dogs. It's like that didn't register with me that was like a crime because that like dog fighting. I'm not gonna act like I seen dog fights happen, but like that was like a common thing in the hood. Like dog fights go down, so it's just like that shit was so regular. Like me now being grown and looking back on it, it's like damn, that is crazy. And it's like also as somebody now having more respect for an animal's life than I did when I was a kid. It's like, yeah, that's
Mm.
fucked up. That's fucked up. But again, I didn't then and don't now look at him as like the worst person or this terrible person. It's like he's a victim of circumstance, if anything, a victim of circumstance, and like you know, you just because you are a public figure with a bunch of money don't mean you can escape the shit you come from. And the Michael Vick case was one of the greatest examples of that. Is like I'm sure for him that was super normal to do because you become so desensitized to a lot of violent acts and shit like that. You like Will said, you're looking at dog fights, not the equivalent of like shootouts that's probably happening, in and around your neighborhood or in your city and things like that. So he's like, it's not a human life, so what's the big deal? So that was it was definitely a weird situation because it was weird thinking about it. It was weird in the time, and it's definitely weird now thinking about it and considering like all he's done since then. So, but yeah, never looked at Michael Vick as like this awful human or some shit like that.
And real quick, Justin, before you go, and like just this something that kind of popped in my head while Tony was talking. It's like as people, and like even for us, like, and like our country, like we might get on here when like Gucci and Jeezy did the whole verses, and like maybe make jokes or whatever about the whole Gucci Mane Pookie Loke shit, smoking on Pookie Loke. But it's like niggas will look at us crazy if we was up in here like laughing and talking about a nigga killing dogs.
Yeah. No, 1,000%.
But don't nobody think, like, niggas don't think nothing is wrong with the other shit.
No, and that's where it's what makes I think morality so tough is like what is what a your morality is your own level of morality, right? Like we got a dude right now in the White House and there's a clear moral line I feel with I'm gonna use sane and rational as my terms because I think YouTube will kick us off if I say other stuff. I think sane and rational people, there's a way you feel about him. To the point of like Tony and I've talked about a couple times where it's like the apolitical niggas right now, it's like, all right, if you say you're apolitically like, oh, I'm not really that into politics, it kind of already gives off a certain thing or certain feeling. Where is Priol, I guess, the morality of what someone's doing versus somebody making a mistake? so like Will, you brought it like when you were talking about the driving thing is like there is levels to, and not just with driving, there is levels to people can fuck up without being a bad person, but when you don't, again, we don't actually know that person, it is tough when it just comes across like your sidebar, your news report, and it's like, so and so does this. Um, I'll use the easy example because it's relevant right now. Is Jonathan Cooper's linebacker for the Broncos. Um, Originally, the report was basically him and his girlfriend got into it, and I normally stay out of it for the first part because everybody's lawyer obviously is going to say they're the bad person, they're the bad person, etc. And it looked initially like two stupid people who were in a relationship and got physical with each other. And because the one is 6'4", 250 pounds, it obviously looks a lot worse. Then it came out where it was like, nah, he was just basically strangling her, and they only spent like 2 days in court, and already all the charges against her have been dropped. So it's like, all right, you have passed mistake, you have passed the first sign of like, can I give you any down? It's like, all right, now we just kind of waiting to see like, I think the Broncos are personally kind of hoping, we'll see. They're ran by Walmart, who don't exactly make the best decisions. It looks like they're waiting to see if they can cut him and it's legal, which affects the salary cap differently. And he already got kicked out of practice, essentially. Like, they sent his ass home. Um, I'm rambling a little bit here. Where do y'all fall on, like, mistakes somebody makes versus, like, actually being a bad person or committing a bad act?
What do you?
This is personal to, like, y'all. Like, where is that line in your head specifically?
I mean, I guess it depends. I would think it depends on what you view as a mistake.
Okay. Do you think that heat of the moment can be defined as a mistake?
Heat of the moment, like doing what in the heat of the moment, like hitting a woman in the heat of the moment.
Again, I'm using his case because it's relevant right now. She hits you for whatever the reason is, and like you just push her away. But again, because there's a giant size difference, your push is obviously going to be more impactful than her potentially hitting you.
I think a push is different. Like, and I'm not even saying it's okay, but it's like to push is more like self defense. Like now, like did you grab her and throw her, or did you like push her like get off? Like it it's different because it's like if you're not gonna push it, then the only other option is to stand there and get hit, or like I mean I guess try to get out the best way that you can essentially. But
Mm-hmm.
like I guess if it's a push that turns into something like that, that's like a mistake. Like that turns into something bigger. But like for you to like ball your fist up or like open hand slap like or something like that like to a woman, I don't necessarily view that as a mistake. Like,
No, you
but
be.
I can see some people maybe feeling that way. I don't know if I view it that way though, and that's why I say it depends on like on your view of a mistake. And like I guess to even go back to like the example that we talked about before when it comes to like driving, if you're driving 100 miles per hour and kill somebody, which part was the mistake?
That is not true. Tony, what would you draw the line like in terms of being a mistake versus? And again, it's not always physical. Sometimes it's like I do like to think people can learn, and I do think sometimes people just say stupid shit. And I do think there is some line of like you could say something stupid and it be a mistake versus like the first Marlon Humphrey tweet that you saw that was like, all right, what the fuck's bro on? Like, was there a point where you were like, all right, can I give him some grace and say this is just a stupid mistake or a lapse in judgment versus when did that turn into like, no, this is just who he is?
Marlon Humphrey's never committed like a crime or been like a bad person. He's just he operates as a black man from Alabama who went to Alabama and is has a lot of money now and probably grew up around more conservative whites than he realized, and that in turn it doesn't work when you have the conservative type of opinions that he does and you play in a city like this. So I don't want to make it seem like Marlon Humphrey's a terrible person. He just says shit that you shouldn't be saying. When it comes to the original question, you said like, how do you differentiate like a heat of the moment situation versus like just being a bad person?
Hmm.
I mean, let's look at it. Let's look at it from this standpoint. What Henry Ruggs did was probably a heat of the moment thing, but he's also a bad person because he did it. Because even if nobody dies, that possibility lingers based on your act.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's kind of what I was saying when I was just saying about like, are you a bad person because you're willing to put people's lives in danger?
and like one of the big heat of the moment things that have happened in our lifetime when we think about public figures is Rihanna and Chris Brown. And immediately people would have painted Chris Brown as a bad person because of that.
Hmm.
Looking at it, I think we are all old enough to say that one situation in itself did not make Chris Brown a bad person. Everything Chris Brown's done since then makes Chris Brown a bad person. So
I,
it's really case dependent. Nothing is, black and white. Nothing is Everything has shades of gray, whether people want to admit it or not. And you got to take every individual, not even every individual situation, but every individual on a case by case basis. Like there's so many things that happen in life that happen just at the snap of a second, where you might fuck over somebody and that just was not your intent. There are situations where you might fuck over somebody and that wasn't your intent, but the things you were doing it put them in that situation. So, it's literally as the person goes, as the action goes.
But it's also like, and I'm sure maybe y'all have like heard it at some point, like when y'all were growing up, or maybe y'all didn't, but it's a point where like things kind of shifted from like as a boy, like as a young kid, young boy, young man, or whatever, where it shifted from like never put your hands on women to like it was a point where people were saying like, if anybody put their hands on you, you got
You hit them
every
back,
right to
yeah.
put you got every right to hit it. So it's kind of like, and Chris Brown, like he ain't that much older than like us, like so he could have been somebody that was like taught that coming up and like raised that way, and like in the court of public opinion, like that's never gonna be okay. But it was a generation of people that were raised like, if somebody put their hands on you, you got every right to hit them back. So it's kind of like it's a double edged sword, like because the majority of people still think that that's wrong, and even if you've heard it, even if you've been told it, like at some point, when you as you get older and you become a man, you realize like it's nothing like most women, is nothing they can do like physically with their hands, like to really like not saying that they can't hurt you, but it's kind of like you as a man, you just stronger, like you can restrain them. So, and like you don't have to resort to actually like physically like putting your hands on them, or hitting them and things like that too. But I also think it's a generation of people that were raised to like and raised and taught like, hey, if anybody hits you, boy, girl, man, whatever, like hit their ass back.
Real.
no, that's a fact. Um, it's not just a political thing, but it's obviously like politics because these guys talk so much now because there's so much more media than there was 20, 30 years ago. And that's one of the things that I do kind of feel for. I'm like some of y'all just stupid and uneducated. And that's unfortunate, but that's also honest. And because there's so many more microphones and so many more chances for you to say something stupid, like we don't know if we obviously know like the obvious ones who turned out to be bad people like from the 90s, but there's so many athletes who had to play in the 90s who had to escape it. Like it's one of the great jokes about Jordan is like if Jordan was around during social media and they caught that nigga at the casino at 2 a.m., like you would have an entirely different perception of Michael Jordan than we do now. Um, with the political side of it, because it's obviously when it comes into morals, is like Marlon Humphrey being a good example. I watched when the Broncos won the Super Bowl in 2015. Derek Wolfe was one of the best players on the team. I got no interest in ever talking to Derek Wolfe in real life. Um, where I guess for that line is it where like I don't really think there is one with Trump because I think that over there's a difference in being like, okay, we disagree on tax code versus we agree. To me, Trump is a are we disagreeing on morality? Like those are two different things. Of like, all right, if you grew up a Republican or a Democrat and your differences are simply legislative, tax code, and whatever policy you want to die on, okay, that's a different conversation. He supersedes that. And I don't think that's tough to say out loud. I don't think that is tough to just again, I made the comment about people like, oh, I made political on top of politics. It's like this he's not political. Like I think that's simple. Where is that line for you guys as far as like I guess politics in general and also 47?
Um, Democrat and Republican shit is always funny to me because it's just like I me personally, I cannot on like a real life level fuck with somebody that's like can say like I'm a Republican because we can try to be tricky about it and make it seem like different different stances on different shit. But the reality is like for my lifetime, if you are for I'm not even for my lifetime, like pre me being alive, like for years and years and years, if you are somebody who can agree with Republican like ideas or Republican what's the word I'm looking for? Republican causes or just anything like that. If you are someone that can agree with that or you are a Republican, is like you are going against the benefit of black people. Republican policies are have not have never been, I will talk about modern life, have never been made to uplift the poor community, number one, and specifically the poor black community. So it's just like there's plenty of Republicans that have played for teams I root for. There's plenty of Republicans that have been in movies I've liked or however you want to look at it, shows I've watched and all that type of shit. It's it's dumb to try to break it down as anything more than race. Everything's about race. Every single thing in this country is about race. From how many trees are in one area versus the other, to how highways are built, to how many places got access to grocery stores, and so on and so forth. So when you think about Trump, who clearly has made it very clear who he's trying to benefit and who he's not trying to benefit, when you see people align themselves with Donald Trump or support Donald Trump or just try to be have this what's the word a cordial situation with Trump, it's like I can't fuck with that because that's you saying like, let me put it like this. They had the UFC event Sunday at the White House.
Mm-hmm.
First of my generation to say those words.
I didn't watch. I
And
know what happened. Did not watch it.
and you look at the different athletes and celebrities and stuff that are there because of TKO, who owns WWE, who owns UFC, who's also in business with Saudi Arabia, who owns Zuffa Boxing, who in turn is doing business with Trump. The president's fucking doing business with. You see how it's an endless cycle. You see how it's an endless cycle of bullshit. So you look at different guys that's there. Roman Reigns, obviously WWE superstar. You look at Bud Crawford, who's there. You look at all of these different guys there, and it's just like you can't do these things. You can do them because you're grown as hell, and it's a free country. But
Mm-hmm.
you look bad. You look very bad because this is someone who pre 2016 was a racist, who pre 2016 2015 was sexist and discriminatory and all of these different things. So so with Trump, he's the most like you can't be 50-50 with. You got to stand on one side or the other and be there. You can't just be like, oh well, you can't fuck around with it. I know I'm rambling, but you can't fuck around with it.
No, I agree. But that's I guess why I wanted to like, because I agree with you on the first point even, but like I do think there's a difference between him and other people, and I always, this could just be because I grew up in a bunch of white neighborhoods, but like I felt like Hitler got thrown around too much, not just with him, but like just in general. I would hear people say like, oh, this is like Hitler, and I'm like, you can't minimalize Hitler. Like that is a very troublesome thing to do if you start going every horrible person is Hitler, because you again you if you what he did was so horrific that needs to be kind of put in a box by itself, and that's kind of the same thing I do with Trump, where it's like you do need to realize there's a difference between him and other people. Now you want to say all evils in one box, sure. I guess my point would be like, again, if when never slaved in this country as fast.
Trump's doing the same thing Hitler did, though.
No, that's what I'm saying. If you want to put that level, I'm okay with. I'm talking about separating like them from just. I'm using average Republican guy, just for lack of a better term, right? Because like you said, is like if you just sitting there, and because I wouldn't probably call someone a. See, that's when it gets tough. Because it's like I only know these people for the 3 hours, and so it's tough to be like, I'm not going to call you a horrible person because you believe this, but if I talk to you in real life, I would have a different view of you. I just don't have the intensity of the view because I don't know you as well. So I'm probably just going to sound like a hypocrite when I say that. But it's like, that's kind of the reality of it is just like, again, when you go to watch a movie, it's not the first thing you think of like every single actor. And the problem is like, when certain people get a certain amount of wealth, their opinions just start changing. And so they might have been one way the entire time up until it's like, well, now I got $50 million in the bank. And it's like, now I think differently. Now I act differently. People I'm around. And so, oh, man. Will, where you stand when it comes to like, again, the politics of it, the Trump of it, when it gets into, now that more athletes are super vocal about it. Also, I do think it's a little, sorry, one last thing.
No,
I do think it's unfair that like the Bosa brothers, right? And it's not a shock to anybody that they're Republican and MAGA as hell. And it almost gets turned into like a joke, and it's like, oh, ha, shock, the Bosa brothers are MAGA. That double standard even from the black athlete, and it's like, yeah, you should have a different responsibility because of how you grew up and because of who you are. But I also think that is frustrating that it's like, it can be a joke for them, and it's played off as, oh, who cares, haha. But you are immediately shamed. Again, it's weird. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, you shouldn't be that way anyway, but it's like you even get, like, double slammed because we just don't expect anything out of the Bosa brothers.
I don't expect anything from white people. I hold
I
black
know,
people
but
to a
that's
higher
like,
standard than I hold white people
that's,
to.
That's fair, and that's probably the right way to do it. I guess it's just the...
I expect probably if I'm in my everyday life, I expect 90 to 95% of the white people that I am in contact with to be Trump supporters or Republican in some way. I expect dust from white people on the side of like good or just. So when I do see white athletes or entertainers in general, and they are on that side of the fence, I hold no surprise. The only white person I'd be surprised, there's probably like 3 white people I'd be surprised if they were like fucked up like that. And I'm about to let you go, Will. But like,
no, you good.
Fucking like if Jeff Hardy was a Trump supporter, that'd break my heart. Like, other than that, I don't really know. Like, I don't really know. So like, when I see black people on that same side, it's tough because it's just like I hold my people to a standard I don't hold other people to.
So with that though, like, because you don't hold them to that standard as far as white people, does that like Does that make it to where you able to separate their beliefs from what they do, and not necessarily for like the black people?
For sports, I still can today. In 2 years,
I'm saying
probably
is
not.
that I'm saying is that like that's for the white people or that's for the black people?
No. So if okay, I get what you're saying. So
So like I'm saying, like,
no.
as far as like,
I
yeah.
don't. If there is a white person like that, I I'll say this outside of wrestling because
And that's what I was gonna say, because you're a wrestling fan. Like, I
I
know you're a
look
wrestling fan, and I know.
I don't look at wrestlers as real people. I don't look at white wrestlers as real people. Like because you do this thing that is very like weird already, and you are for you're portraying this idea that this known fake thing is real. So it's like I already don't look at like professional wrestlers as like up here altogether. So I can't. I'm easily to separate them from that. But everybody else is like, nah, I can't fuck with it. Like I love Home Improvement, but like Tim Allen's like a wild fucking like he's a wild guy. On top of being like a snitch, but that's none of my business. The snitching shit, the snitching shit has nothing to do with me. But from like his Trump shit is like, nah, I can't fuck with it. And I
because
hold
he
that
played for. I was gonna say he played for both teams that we root for, like a nigga like Derek Wolf. Like Derek
yeah, it's like
Wolf,
when Derek Wolf was a Raven, like Derek Wolf was really good, but also like Derek Wolf was like anti-vax. He had a lot of crazy takes, and it was just like I see who you are. So it's like I'm glad you aren't here a long time. So to your point, Will, I can separate that outside of like that little bubble. So it's not really hard for me to do it.
Gotcha. I think, and I guess to the original question is, Trump is Trump is definitely one of those people to where it's like, um, you got to pick a side. Like, he's been too divisive. Like, he's been too divisive. He's been too offensive. He's been too disrespectful to like too many groups of people.
using the FBI to literally hunt people.
For you to like, for you to like, you gotta have a strong stance on one side or the other. It gotta be like, you can't. This is one of the few people in the world. Like, I won't even say one of the few people, but one of the people in the world that like you can't play the middle with. Like, it's either you on this side or you on that side. Like, um, I mean, I think that's kind of the main that's kind of the main thing that I would say. Like, I think he's been too much of a an asshole. Like, he piece of shit. Like, any slur you could think of, he's been too much of that. Like, kind of for you to not pick a side.
Did y'all
Like, you
before we go to
can't just you can't play the fence when it comes to him. You can't be like of the like, especially even like as a black person. And I think it gets tricky, like, cause I seen the Bud shit and like Tony, I fuck with Bud, that's my nigga. But it's also like one of those things where like, outside of like the interviews and shit like that, I don't know much about them personally. But some of the stuff that I was reading is like, and it typically don't matter. But some of the stuff that I was reading was saying like, oh, Nebraska is like, obviously a red state and all of that. But even most red states, when you talk about like the black folks that were raised in poverty and shit like that, like, yeah, the state can be red as a whole, but that don't mean everybody who, that don't mean that community is like, that's just, at that point you're playing the game of like majority versus minority.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what I was texting y'all like over like 2 weekends ago, and I was like, because California, because Gavin's can't rerun because his term limit, and like there is going to be some change in California, like that's inevitable. Plus they've been redrawing lines like crazy, but I'm not the expert on gerrymandering. There is, that's kind of the only time when people are like politics. It's the only part, like certain topics. I can tell you how I feel. Certain topics I'm not educated enough to actually be able to say them correctly, in my opinion, and so I will refer, like, I got a handful of people that I'm like, they say this or they can what's the fucking word I'm looking for, talk better, but there's like a nicer word for it. They can talk better about a topic to actually instruct people, where I'm like, hey, Let them say the words, and I could just stand behind you. Like, I could be the
Right.
support. I shouldn't be the speaker. And that's simply because if I'm not smart enough to talk about, like, there's a reason why, like, I talk about sports, I talk about music, I talk about anime. Like, I know what I can talk about, and there's just certain things that I shouldn't be talking about. The last part of morality, real quick, before we go to quick hits. Um, I feel like old people get a pass. And as someone who had a really old racist grandfather, like, there is just a lot of he's old, who cares? Like, I remember it was funny that Will chose Meek as his rap of the week. So I remember Meek one time talking about it, and it might have even been in a freestyle. He was just like, man, all these old racist dudes going to die one day. And I'm like, I don't think that's true anymore.
He
I
did say
used to
that, didn't he?
kind of think that, but because it's like, oh yeah, it makes sense. It's like when you literally had people, like growing up, we had people that literally saw a segregated America. Like that
Mhm.
was a part of their day-to-day life. Are you all familiar with Les Brown?
Les Brown. I feel like I've
I
heard
know
that
the
name
name.
before.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know the name. I'm not super
He's
familiar.
he's a motivational speaker. He has either put a lot of dye in his hair or he has just aged the best of any human ever. But like it was wild during an interview. He just talked about like he was getting whooped because he drank at the wrong water fountain. And I'm watching this interview in like 2010, and I'm just like, gosh, damn, nigga, how old are you? And then it like clicks back in your head, and there's again there's a whole conversation about there's a reason why they use MLK in black and white pictures and Malcolm X in black and white pictures. They want to create separation from like this was really long time ago versus what is now. That's again for different podcast. But like, do old people just get a pass for being either ignorant? Like, I feel like they do.
Not around here. I don't. I don't know. Like I feel like if yeah, I like simply. I just like nah, not really. I don't see that happening. Maybe like in my life, I don't see that happening.
You saying you don't see what happened like them getting the pass?
Yeah, like I feel
Yeah,
like
I mean you.
that's called out.
Yeah, you don't give like you're not gonna give like young motherfuckers a pass for like not evolving or like not seeing shit differently like based on the time. So like we talk one of the most common things that people talk about is older people having knowledge and wisdom and shit like that. So like at what point do you use that to say like the old way of thinking ain't necessarily the right way?
No, that's. I think that's the correct way to go about it. I just feel I have heard a lot of just like, oh, they old, they gonna die soon anyway. You ain't gonna change. Like if somebody's 60, 70, 80 years old, it's like, well, you ain't gonna change their mind anyway. So fuck it. And
I
that's
mean,
the
I don't
wrong
think, but
way
I
to
don't
go
even think
about it.
that's giving them a pass. Saying you ain't gonna change their mind, but fuck it or fuck them. That ain't necessarily giving them a pass. Like you ain't really excusing it. Like, but it's more so like if 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 you see that somebody ain't willing to change, then it's like you all you can do is say it is what it is. Like what you gotta do, beat everybody ass. Like I mean, what's the
If
like,
only.
like what's the
That's
other
what niggas
option?
do,
Like what's
man.
the other option? Either like let them niggas like keep pushing with their way of thinking, or like what?
Nah, it's valid. That's valid. Um, Couple quick hits here before we get out of here. Do want to say rest in peace to Aldon Smith. I don't know if they've released, as of literally right this second, if they've released the cause of death. I know I did see that his family was submitting his brain for CTE tests. There's a video going around right now, like he was um, not delivering pizza, but like he literally had it was like him giving back, and it was like these. There's a whole bunch of pizzas he had a truck
He's like
just a
dropping
few
off
Saturdays
pizzas
ago.
for like charity.
Yeah, I don't know the full extent of it or what he did as charitable work. I just know that was circulating around. But 36 years old is crazy. I always just more and more, um, and we've talked about this before in the past. It's like the closer you are in age to people, like I was a Sports Center kid, and so you would always see on Sports Center. Unfortunately, 'cause the passage of time, it's like, all right, so and so, this old player who played in the 50s passed away, and it's like, okay, he's 70 years old. That makes sense now. I just feel like we've seen way too much of it, where it's like it's getting closer and closer to our own actual ages, where it's just like it just feels more and more uncomfortable. It's more and more sad. It gets more of a visceral reaction of like 36 is not far off, and so when you see that, it's like, damn. So rest in peace to him, prayers to his family. Um, I was funny. I saw this on Twitter, and it was best opening rap lines on songs. fuck your bitch in the or fuck your I don't know if you ever gonna beat Hit 'Em Up's opening line. Like there's some iconic opening lines in rap. I don't know if you ever gonna knock that one out of like number one. Like Cole was on there with First Thing First, rest in peace Uncle Phil. They had Easy on there. Hove was on there with Allow Me to Reintroduce Myself. Like, what are like some just real quick, some iconic opening lines for y'all in rap?
Is Rest in Peace Uncle Phil like iconic though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. First thing first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. Yeah.
Like the song is obviously fire. Like I ain't even like trying to take away from the song, but like
No, the line itself is an
line
iconic line at this point. At this point, yeah, it is.
Fuck the
I'm with the
frail
team.
shit.
I don't know, man. Like it's a lot of fucking like rap, like, but some rap lines that I think are like some of the like opening rap lines that I might think are like fire is like probably not that known. I don't know. That's tricky. But you're not gonna beat the Tupac shit just because of like everything that came with that, who it was about, and then the song within itself. Like that's going to be kind of hard to top for anybody. Shit, you could argue everybody been chasing that high since '96. So
That's a fact. The because you had brought that up too, is because you had read Biggie's book, yeah, because he was talking about Pac.
yeah, so the Biggie book, when you sent the tweet yesterday, I think it was, and then it made me think about Biggie's book, and there's obviously a big Tupac section in that book, and every time I think about it, it was just like that whole thing was just so avoidable. Like Tupac and Biggie was just so avoidable, and it sucks that it went the way it did, and it was Tupac's fault, but neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. But yeah, it just sucked that it went the way it did because they were real friends. Like they were really friends, and yeah, that shit sucks, man.
That was a lot. Like you said, like ego, and it's like ego's gotten as many niggas out of here as anything. Like you want, like it's, and it's. I ain't gonna act like everybody's Tupac because I think too many people do that. But there is a lot of like just when your ego gets tested. Like I think that is one of the hardest things as growing up as a man is like when you have to realize like my ego is either hurt, offended, whatever term you want to use, but I can't react in a certain way because there's no good reaction to come out of this. And that I think is just fucking tough because man, if there were less laws, the amount of niggas that should be whipped with something. Like just I hate it because like I'm in a position where it's like I'm never gonna look like the good guy if I get in a fight with somebody. Like I'm 6'9", 275 pounds. Like if I get in a fight with like what do I look like? It was I think 2 years ago now. It was a drunk dude at a party who had an issue with me. And bro had to be, if he was 6 foot, it was barely, and he was just drunk and upset. And like he pushed me. I ain't going nowhere, but he pushed me. And it's not even a matter of like trying to act tough or trying to be whatever. I'm not the tough guy. It's not what this story is. But I'm like, if I hit you, I just look like I'm the only one who's gonna get like in trouble for this. Like I'm the only person who's gonna have real consequences because you damn near look like you half my size. And so, yeah, it's just.
I don't like when you do that. I don't like when you do that. I really don't. I don't like when you do that.
No, Justin don't know that nigga was finna get rank on Justin.
Like he always try to throw his measurements out there. Like we like
he like the niggas with his height in his IG bio.
No,
it's about 6'9", 275.
Well,
security at Ross.
Hey yo, no, but it's like
6'9", 275.
But am I wrong though?
Talking through a microphone. You're funny. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hey man, I was not a. If I had gotten into sports earlier, there's a chance. But I didn't even get into sports until like 6th grade. I think 6th grade was my first football game.
Because when did you say you had your growth spurt?
Uh, going into high school. So I went from 5'6".
Yeah, that'd be the problem. Niggas ain't believe like your little light skinned ass was gonna do shit. Then all of a sudden you was 6'9". They said,
No, but that's made it
got
worse.
one. They said we got one.
I went from 5'6" to 6'7" in about 7-8 months. Like just
So
over.
did you go to high school with people you went to middle school with or junior high? I don't know what y'all call it.
A decent amount. My high school was probably 2,000 people, a little over, and so from middle school to high school, I'd probably say like 20-25%. Like I knew a good amount of people, but there's also a lot of new people.
So it's a lot of people that only know you as like the tall motherfucker.
Absolutely. No, I was like I genuinely I was the tallest person at my high school. Like we didn't have we didn't have a
saying that
7
nigga coming. They said you who?
I was recruited by the water polo team, because that was my math teacher. But it was crazy because
Man, you should have been on the mound, dog.
The baseball coach. So the baseball coach and the I'm calling it water volleyball, the water polo. They both were like, "Hey, would you be interested?" Now, I'm a nigga who didn't have good grades, and I'm not here to tell y'all like, "Oh, I didn't have good grades." Blah blah. Teachers believe. No. I just was lazy. So when they said, "Hey, would you want to be part of the team?" in my mind, I was like, "Y'all niggas know I'm not academically eligible. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, go to practice
Academically eligible. If you was worth your salt, that wouldn't have mattered, nigga.
You ain't never heard no niggas fudging the numbers for the water polo.
That's what I'm saying.
Like that.
I was talking about baseball, water polo. Fair enough. I was talking more about baseball.
That nigga never said he'd start a water polo team. We gotta pass him.
Hey, and so
I was like, that would be so on brand for you to get on this motherfucker and tell us about your time as a water polo star.
I went to one practice.
Oh my God, you went to one practice?
I went to one practice. It wasn't for me. It was not for me. But
why?
A multitude of reasons. That's a story for another day.
You was the only black one out there, wasn't you?
I definitely was.
Oh, for sure. Like your school, you had to be like one of 5 black kids at your school for y'all to have a water polo team.
No, my high school, no. My high school had like actual good ratio. My middle school, my elementary school, no, it was me, my sister, and one other person. Like it was that. No, we had nothing.
We could have been at the Olympics, Tony.
If he never,
the best water polo player in California.
I thank God that he met us. I really do. Because I do not like.
See,
this podcast would be a different podcast.
Listen, I was just sitting here thinking. I was like, you know, if Justin was like 5'10", like we wouldn't know this nigga.
There's
like just think of how like little some shit like that changes like the trajectory.
Nah, mind you, when I got how this started, I bought Xbox Live, my very first subscription. We in 2026, about 15 and a half years ago. My second day being on Xbox Live, I ran into because you used to like start up the games and then you would get a lobby going with the people that was like you were playing with for NBA Live. Tony ended up in my lobby the second day I had Xbox Live. That was a truly life-changing day. Like, no bullshit. That is a legitimate life-changing day. And then Will was like not far after because it was shout out to Death Don. That nigga was probably a weirdo, but like at 13 I didn't care. Like high key looking back on it, like nigga was probably a weirdo. But
we used to be on that bitch with grown men with kids, like having a blast.
Shout out to Dwayne, whatever you doing in life. Hope you doing well. Yeah, man. So that's genuinely, man. I have a growth spurt. Played. Yeah, I just didn't get into sports early enough in life. But I also grew up in a house like there was one. I had my one uncle who was into motocross. I grew up in a White House. So.
As we wrap up, speaking of the early aughts, the 2010s, we didn't talk about superstar battle rapper, super hot fire, knocking out Ray J in a boxing match. Say that sentence in 2011. You would not believe it.
Ray J is the type. Ray J is Shaq if he was 5'11". Both the niggas would do anything for a check. Shaq was just 7 feet tall.
Ray J can't be 5'11", can he?
I don't know. It's how Ray J. That's what we're gonna leave y'all with. What's Ray J height in 2026?
Yes, Ray J will sell anything, as evidenced by the glasses and the earphones. Shaq will
5'9".
absolutely sell you anything, as evidenced by the insurance and all the gummies and the
Shaq ain't never seen
canned
a
drinks.
commercial he didn't like.
Shaq ain't
The
never saw a
niggas-
check he had turned down.
That's a fact. And I'm sure like somewhere that's commendable. That's being a hustler. That's doing like, bro, you was Shaquille O'Neal. Like, you don't got to do this, dog. Like, but oh man,
Shaq gonna start selling Blue Chew in a second.
that's a metaphor for inside the NBA in 2026. It just is. But we ain't got it. Hey man, we come back next week. We're gonna be giving y'all the 30. We're gonna be a day early on the 30-year anniversary of Reasonable Doubt. For all you niggas mad that Hope's got a vinyl in Target, be mad at every rapper that's got a vinyl in Target. As somebody who buys vinyls, everybody got a fucking vinyl in Target. Like, again, I know the world is a bunch of selective outrage, and you're never gonna change that. I get it, but like, you got to be mad at everybody if you're gonna do that. And guess what? I'm gonna get a vinyl. I'm gonna get a Reasonable Doubt vinyl. It is what it is right now. But with that being said, appreciate everybody as always. Don't forget to check us out.
Shout out to all the Europeans that never had ranch dressing in their fucking life. Shout out to the Europeans that's hitting up Walmart and are losing their minds because they're here for the World Cup. Shout out to my Brits that tried Waffle House, that had their minds blown by Chipotle, Texas barbecue. Shout out. You'll never go back to eating beans and toast again.
See though, but that was like, what was the man? I'm not trying to clown nobody. What was the restaurant when y'all was out here when you and E like you kept trying to go to? Because it was drastically different than it was in Maryland.
Oh, Jack in the Box. Yes.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, no, I was like, I've just always had Jack in the Box. Was literally like there was one forever just down the street from my grandma's house, and so
y'all got Jack in the Box in Maryland.
It's probably like deep out if we do. But the thing about Jack in the Box is not the food was good for sure, but it's like fast food, whatever. Jack in the Box sells tacos and burgers and pancakes and hot dogs and waffles and pizza. Amazing place. Just an amazing place.
Now they'll sell you anything. But yeah, no. Shout out. That's our World Cup coverage. If you're looking for anything else, I don't know what the fuck's going on in the World Cup. I know. What's his name? One of the niggas they say is like the most famous athlete in the world got 3 goals.
Messi got a hat trick last night. Yeah. Shout out.
So shout out to them. Shout out to the World Cup.
I hear he the GOAT.
Now we ain't starting that fight. I'm not getting involved. Soccer niggas take that shit to a whole new level. Y'all think niggas burn down New York? Whoever wins the World Cup.
He the GOAT and Mbappe can't fuck with him.
All these opinions and words
get that aggregate.
They are. These are Will's thoughts and Will's thoughts alone.
These are not my. I literally said they said. Like, these are not my thoughts at all.
In the chat, Golden Corral too. Golden Corral. Someone said Golden Corral was life changing. Sure. Sure,
Golden Corral
brother.
was crazy.
Sure.
And
man.
like, so it's Golden Corral. That's like around y'all and shit too.
Yeah.
We have.
Y'all ain't never had like Old Country buffet. Did y'all used to have that back in the day?
You used to have Old Country too.
Old Country, we got kicked out of Old Country for having a food fight back in the day.
Hey, we gonna hold that story. I'm gonna put that in the doc. I need that next week.
That's how you end the show, man. That's a good cliffhanger. That's a great cliffhanger.
We gonna see y'all next week. Tune in for 30 years of Reasonable Doubt, and while Will got his ass kicked out the buffet. Hey,
It was a family event.
Hey, we gonna see y'all.
And I'm talking uncles, aunties, all of it.